So we're going to go back a little bit more on the old school stuff and show you how to lay something off to tape. It's pretty simple. You choose Output and choose Digital Cut. The Digital Cut tool looks very similar to the Capture tool, a little bit different. We've got our sequence down here in our timeline, and we're going to take a look at some of the parameters on the Digital Cut tool that you need to pay attention to. This tells you how many tracks of video that you have on your source side, basically in your sequence, and how many of those you want to go to one track, obviously, of tape. We also have 3 tracks of audio in our timeline, and all 3 of those tracks are going to go to 2 tracks of audio in our tape. The Digital Cut tool knows that we're looking at a Sony UVW-1800 deck, so there are only 2 channels to go to. If we had a Digibeta deck or some kind of a deck with maybe 12 channels, all 12 channels would show up here. Let me show you quickly how to select which deck you're going to be working with. Down here in this section, sometimes it'll say check decks or no deck. Just drag down to auto configure, and it tells me I've got a Sony UVW-1800. It also tells me I'm in local mode. So I've got the deck right next to me. I'm going to flip that into remote, and it should tell me, hey, I know not only now that I'm in remote, but I also have a time code that I'm at, 582719, and my timeline starts at 5830 with some color bars, some slate, and then my program after that. I want to make sure that I'm going to lay off my entire sequence. I can also choose to turn that off. Let's say I want to do an insert edit of a single shot. I could select, a mark in and a mark out and simply insert edit just this little piece to tape, and it should insert perfectly. We're going to lay off an entire program, so I'm going to choose entire sequence. Then we're going to choose stop on dropped frames. That's a wise choice to make sure that you've got a good layoff. That has never happened to me in the entire amount of time that I've been working on an Avid. I've never had a layoff stop on dropped frames. We're going to add some black at the tail of our segment. We'll just say 30 seconds of black at the end of the show. And the other thing we're going to look at is you can choose to lay off at sequence time. In other words, our sequence starts at 5830. You can see it here. You can also see it here. And we can tell the deck, go look and find 5830 on the tape, and that's where we want you to start doing this layoff. That's sequence time. You can do it at record deck time, which is basically whatever time the deck is stopped at right now, 582719. It will start the recording at 582719. Or you can choose a mark in time, and you can actually mark in a spot on the tape and say, I want it to start at 1 hour or whatever it is. That's how you do it. I'm going to choose sequence time because I want my tape time code to match my sequence time code. And the final thing that I want to do is choose insert edit or assemble edit. Now, I've only blacked about 30 seconds on this tape, so I don't want to do an insert edit because then my show wouldn't get laid off. I want to choose an assemble edit. If I click on this, I don't have assemble edit as a choice. What am I going to do? Well, there's a couple of settings we need to take a look at. So we'll go back to our project window in the settings tab, and we'll move down here to alphabetically to deck. I can never quite remember which one is which. Deck configuration, this tells me that I'm connected to a UVW-1800. That's fine. Deck preferences is what I really want. The option I want to choose is allow assemble edit and crash record for digital cut. I'm going to choose that option and say OK. And now when I go to my digital cut tool and click on insert edit, assemble edit is one of my choices, and that's the one I'm going to choose. You get a big red dialog because they want to let you know, hey, you probably don't want to do an assemble edit, or you really want to know that you're about to do an assemble edit. That's definitely what I want. And so then all I have to do to lay off my digital cut is hit play digital cut. If I also wanted to preview it, which I've never previewed a digital cut, but you could try it if you wanted to make sure you weren't laying over maybe some previously recorded piece, or you want to preview an insert edit would be a wise choice. Then you could preview it if you wanted to. I just want to lay it right off the tape. So I hit this red digital cut button, and it tells me my tape and my sequence must match. So I have a non-drop sequence here, and when I blacked my tape, I blacked it with drop frame time code. So what I need to do is change my sequence or my tape. I could do either one. If I definitely want to lay off as non-drop, then I need to change my tape to non-drop, or I need to change my sequence from non-drop to drop, which is what I'm going to do. So to change the time code of my sequence, all I want to do is right-click on my sequence monitor up here and choose Sequence Report. This is changed from the previous wording that was up here. And we're going to just click right before our colon, delete it, and type a semicolon instead. I could also change the name of the sequence if I wanted to. And save. Apply changes. And cancel. So now you can see my time code has changed from non-drop to drop frame, and we're ready to do our layoff. Output, digital cut, double check that we've got entire sequence, stop on drop frames, add black at tail, assemble edit, and hit the record button. It's asking us to render something. We say OK. It always warns you and renders for you so that you know you're ready to lay off properly. Mount destination deck, and it starts the pre-roll on the tape, picks the endpoint, pre-rolls, and the red flashing record tells us we're laying off to tape. You can see our timeline is moving so that we're laying off to tape. I'm looking at my tape deck and we are rolling. So that is how to do a digital cut with the digital cut tool.